Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cruise Corner, a podcast by Cruise Trade News. I'm your host, Rashmi Narayan, and today for our Titan 3-part episode series, I'm delighted to be joined again by Shane Lewis-Riley, Director of Trade Distribution at Titan Travel. Shane, it's lovely to have you back.
I know, 3-part series. Who'd have thought it? It's great to be back.
And we're glad it's with you because, this will inspire more travel people to be like, hang on, I want a 3-part series.
Yeah. Who wants a series? I want 6 parts next time. Yeah, getting greedy.
And then season 2.
Yeah.
We could go on. I'm really excited to dive in. And last time, my editor and colleague Will Payne spoke to you about your background, your first year with Titan, and your recent trip to Kenya.
Yes.
So to our listeners, if you've missed that episode, I definitely recommend going back and giving it a listen. Today, we're focusing on Titan's product line and experiences. So Shane, for those who may not be familiar, could you give us an overview of the types of holidays that Titan offers and why it's important to cruise travelers?
Yeah, exactly. So in the first episode, if you haven't listened to it, where have you been? And so we talked about the crossover between if customers love cruising, then they will love touring. So touring is very much cruise on land and immersive, deeper into destinations, and you perhaps have longer in those destinations. So cruising is brilliant as an introduction to some destinations, but then touring can take your customers into deeper into those countries to get those true immersive experiences. From Titan Travel, we've been around over 40 years. It is the most awarded touring company in the UK. And for us, adventure made effortless is our tagline. And so our job is to make sure that our customers can explore all 7 continents and do it in quality and style that is really taken care of. And every aspect of their holiday is really being carefully thought through and carefully analysed and carefully constructed in a way that maximises their holiday time and also maximises their value for money.
The bit you hit upon with effortless, because I think people really underestimate that, isn't it? Where I remember we chatted before on something small like bullet trains in Japan, where you'd think, oh yeah, I'll take it. It's on my list. It's on my list for sure. But I think people don't factor in things like luggage, things like how it could be very different in another country. There's a language barrier, there's a cultural barrier. And I think this is where Titan really fits in.
Yeah, exactly. So the bullet trains in Japan are incredibly efficient, but it does mean you don't have time to be dragging a 30-kilo suitcase up some steps and through very narrow barriers. So it's a good example that we would have bonded luggage. So we put the luggage securely in a vehicle and it'll meet you at your next destination. So you can do hands-free bullet train without having to carry your luggage from A to B. And that's just one example. So we have lots of examples like that where we're really carefully thinking about what we're doing for our customers. And we've got our product managers that hand select every hotel, every aspect of the holiday. So it's not just we license them out to somebody to create it. We're creating them by hand ourselves and curating these level of experiences that are really difficult to replicate in the time that we have. So they're very unique experiences. So in Japan, again, for example, we stay in a hotel that actually we reserve all of the rooms in Mount Fuji views. So customers don't expect it, but every room you open your curtains and you've got that epic view. And we know that because we've been to those hotels and we know which rooms we want and what to request with the hotelier and make sure we've got the best for our customers.
That is so lovely because you're then preempting what people already want from their holiday, because I definitely want a view of Mount Fuji. And I guess when it comes to selling these holidays, what would you say are the main points travel agents should know? What are the things that they should consider to make Titan really stand out?
Yeah, exactly. I think first of all, if you've got customers that love cruising, then they will absolutely love touring. And touring as a sector is incredibly diverse. So you've got tour companies that lean into younger travelers, and then you've got tour companies like ourselves. We're generally for those that are early retirees, still very upwardly mobile and want to embrace the adventure, and want to do that in the comfort and style that comes with a Titan travel holiday. So our customers might be the ones that missed out on the backpacking, but now they want to do it in style and let someone else take the stress for them. From a Titan travel perspective, I think we are unique in the industry that I think we're the easiest product to sell because we pick our customers up. Every single one of our customers is picked up from home and returned back to their front door. So from selling a Titan travel holiday, it couldn't get any easier, because you say you were picked up at your front door, you'll be dropped off at your front door, and everything else that you need in between has been taken care of. So we include many meals, we include excursions, so there's so much included value for money. And because these experiences are curated by product manager experts that know and love their destinations, they know what to include and where perhaps you need some free time to go and explore at your own pace. So having the blend is so important for those experiences for our customers.
You hit on a really interesting point on free time, because I think we really underestimate that when it comes to tours. And I think that's also been a common misconception that, if I book a tour, it'll all be completely packed. And I do remember reading one bit from one of Captain's product managers on how free time and where is really crucial, where New Orleans, for example, fabulous city, but a lot to take in, and you can't do it in a day. And I think where Titan fits in beautifully for all our agents listening in is sort of selling that bit of, yes, this is all there to see, but Titan also gives you that liberty to explore this in your own pace and in your own time as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we want our customers to be able to go and breathe and experience these destinations and go and pick up some light bites or go and experience a restaurant. But the magic is you've got that living, breathing tour guide with you, so you can say, actually, tonight we want the X dinner in so-and-so, where do you recommend? And you've got somebody to call upon that can help you to maximize your holiday. And in episode 1, I talked about value for money, but value for time. And I think value for time is really what touring really offers, and that perfect blend of being able to maximize your holiday and hit all of those major spots, but also have that time to be able to go and explore those destinations at your own pace.
And I guess with guides, it bridges that gap, isn't it? That cultural barrier, all of that, where you could be apprehensive, you're going to a new country, you don't know the language, you've never been there before. But I think that's where the guides come in with their, not just local insights, but even like humorous stories that they could tell from lived experiences and their childhood, which you wouldn't really get ordinarily exploring on your own.
Yeah, exactly. And I've just returned from South Africa, actually. And one of our guides, we were able to talk about, he's lived through apartheid. So we were able to talk about that and get that first-hand experience. And we actually went to the jail when Nelson Mandela walked out for the long walk to freedom. But to actually hear it firsthand and someone to tell you what it was like, how the communities were, and how that's transformed, and how South Africa has ultimately transformed, was incredible. And that's something that you can read in it, but you don't get that real life. The real life story of driving from A to B, and you are living and breathing, immersed into it. And, it's unbelievable when you look back and think it's still in our lifetime that this was happening, and being able to understand what that is. I think that is ultimately why travel is so special, because, we can't let those things happen again. We have to go and learn and be immersed in those kind of experiences to make you realize that, life is better when we're all together.
And it's so enriching to do it like that as well, isn't it? You're not just coming back with photos, but you're coming back with memories as well. And I think that's another selling point for our agents. So how can they best then package these experiences when talking to a cruise client, so people get the full picture of what makes a Titan holiday special?
Yeah, so we've got lots of different varieties of types of Titan travel holidays. So ranging from stay and explore, which are essentially types of package holidays where you'll get to go to the same hotel. You'll stay in the same hotel for the duration of the holiday, but you've got multiple day trips, if you like, to go and explore destinations. So small boats of Andalusia, for example, is a great way to be able to see a different part of Spain, and you get to hit the waterways of Spain rather than the typical, fly and flop holiday that but we've all done and used to doing in Spain. And then we've got our cruise and tour product as well. So one of our top sellers is partnering with Rocky Mountaineer. You do the railroad, you go all the way across through the Rockies, and then you would jump on a Holland America Incredible Sailing. And all of these are bundled together and all taken care of, and we've timed everything perfectly, so your customers don't need to worry about any time restraints on that one. And then down to our safaris, we've got amazing safari product. Recently introduced Kwabi, which is our 5-star game reserve exclusive to us, and that is going down a storm, and that is doing particularly well. So for me, I don't think there's actually a Titan product that isn't something you can match with a type of holiday. If you love a package holiday and your customers love that, look at Stay and Explore. If your customers love cruising, our cruise and tour is a great cross sell over, and there's loads of opportunities to have a look at what we do. There's over 120 different tours. So I'm still learning them a year in.
And I think so essentially what you're saying is there is a holiday for everyone. There's a Titan holiday for everyone,
absolutely.
no matter what your personality is.
Yeah, it's a cliche, but I'll take it. Yes, we do have a Titan travel holiday for everyone, yeah.
Well, I guess then if you had to highlight one experience or a journey that really captures the essence of a Titan holiday. I know we've covered a lot and it's given people a lot to think about and sit back and understand and inspire, really.
Yeah.
So for a first-time guest, what would it be? An experience or a journey you can talk us through?
Yeah, I think for me, there's lots of experiences that customers want to do, but perhaps kind of feel a bit daunted into visiting those destinations. Japan is a key seller for Japan. So previously, I'd been to Japan independently. I did it as a stopover on the way back from Australia and spent 4 days and had this wish list that I was going to see and do everything. And you know, it was quite difficult to get around, right? You're trying to get out of tube stations. The names you can't pronounce and they're all very similar. I remember going to the completely opposite side of Tokyo because I thought it was where we were staying and, you know, those kind of missions. And I think programs like Race Across the World are inspiring customers. So now in particular, we're seeing a huge demand for Costa Rica and Central America. So those are destinations that are able for customers to go and explore somewhere that perhaps they wouldn't have thought about, but does give the blend that you can have the beach experience as well as being able to go and experience the wildlife in those destinations. So I find that we're seeing trends highlighted from those places that are featured on programs like that. So I know there was a chef in Australia recently, and we saw a huge surge in Australia bookings. But I think somewhere like Japan, in particular, going back to that, a difficult country to get around and a difficult country to make sure that your timings are correct. So, and you want to be able to go and tick off those hit lists. So we have a number of different tours in Japan. So the Essence of Japan will give you that wish list to tick off all the major sites of Japan. But we also have other tours that will perhaps take you off the major tourist tracks and get you into the real heart and arguably the real Japan, away from those tourist hotspots. So I think there's different ways to be able to layer on the experience. So you can go to Japan one time and do the tourist hotspots. You can then take another tour and have a completely different vibe and experience of Japan and really get to the deep root of it. So, and I think that's the same with many destinations, like Small Boats of Andalusia. I think for me, that is a great experience again, because you get to see a country that we're perhaps all very familiar with and getting to travel, but you get to see a complete different aspect of that holiday by going and seeing it by the waterways.
Absolutely. And I guess that's what a lot of cruise passengers like looking at, where it's like, we'll explore the world by water, but then off the ship as well. This is where, and again, speaking of Japan, I think that layered storytelling from a first time visitor's perspective, then for a repeat visitor, we've had the whole sumo wrestling tournament here in London, which proved to be very popular. And I think that inspired a lot of them to go back to Japan, and that sparked an idea for me on how festivals is a great way to sell a destination as well. And Japan has so many of them, right? With harvest, with sumo wrestling, with winter, everything. And it's the same with, I guess, Latin America is such a good point, because it's often an afterthought, as one of the product managers of Titan have told me in the past. And it shouldn't be, because you get that with Titan, the door-to-door experience where everything is taken care of. So if people are feeling very apprehensive, agents can then convince them on, actually, go to Latin America. And if you don't know how, reference how Titan does it, and maybe that's great for a first-time visitor. They don't know where to begin. It's a huge continent. It's a huge part, but start with Costa Rica's hanging bridges.
Exactly. And, we've got such inspirational content as well that we could share with our agent partners to, whet the appetite of the customer, to get them to think about perhaps somewhere different. But an easy way to sell touring is to lean into, programs like Race Across the World, because they inspire people. I remember last season, one of the competitors, a pair of them, were struggling to get out of Beijing, and it took them 2 days to get out. And I was like, that, if anything, highlights to you why a tour is easy, because someone's got your ticket, someone's thought about everything for you, and you're not wasting your time. Recently in South Africa, as I mentioned, Baldur's Beach is peak season there now, so the queues are big. Everyone wants to see the penguins, and we walked straight past the queue. We had VIP tickets. We were straight in, saw everything, and because the guide had been there a bazillion times, he told us which way to go to get the best views and the best pictures, and then he even was able to take us to another beach where there's penguins, where you could walk onto the beach and the penguins were there. So these are experiences that you're just not going to get if you're trying to do it independently and you're trying to do things. And I'd been to Cape Town previously, actually, and when I went this time with the guide, the stories that came from it. So I'd seen the colourful houses, for example, and taken my photo and done the tourist thing. But he told us the background behind it and the festivals and the parades that happen on that street and the background. It suddenly has a different meaning to it, and you start to really appreciate the destination a whole of a lot more than I did the first time I went.
Absolutely. And I think for a solo traveler as well, who's very apprehensive and doesn't know where to begin, these are great experiences where you'll end up coming back with friends and with stories that inspire you to go back.
Yeah, 100%. And we have some dedicated solo departures. So that means that you'll be traveling, you'll know that the whole trip is made up from other people who are traveling solo. And one of the things when I joined touring, I kind of thought, oh, solo holidays, they're for widowers and they're traveling because their partners are no longer with them. But I've been really surprised actually talking to customers. Like quite often they'll travel at the same time to different places. So I met this brilliant couple. They were both in their 70s and he wanted to do one thing, she wanted to do another, and they were perfectly happy to go and do their own thing and then come home and to share their stories, which I think is brilliant, right? To be able to have the ability to be able to do that. And for us, we also have the happiness guarantee, which means that we can be so confident that our customers are going to have an amazing time, because if not, we fly them back and give them a full refund. So and that puts an added pressure and responsibility on us. And I think from an agent perspective, it's definitely a book with confidence message, because we've taken care of everything. The guide is there, and we'll have a Titan guide, often have a local guide as well, so you get that local knowledge but with the support of somebody that you know and trust, and that has been trained to be an expert the Titan way, so you've got somebody that you can turn to and look after you.
Oh, on that note, that was such a beautiful way to end it, almost poetic. So Shane, I just want to say thank you so much for taking us through all of it, because I think, if anything, it's inspired me to start looking at holidays. And I'm sure our listeners, both agents and travelers alike, will find it incredibly insightful. Thank you to everyone for listening. And for our final episode in our Titan Travel series, we have group editor Jack Carter, who will be chatting with Shane on 5 things you need to know to boost your touring sales, and why agents should pick up and call and sell Titan, including trade engagement plans and incentives. So Thank you for listening.
Exciting. Thanks, Rashmi.